Hey guys, my name is Nick Alexander and I'm with Ayala. We are a part of Illegal the Project. Today we are talking about Illegal the movie. As you might have previously heard, there is a book and there's also a movie. And both of these are under the umbrella Illegal the Project. So today, Laz, we're talking about movie making. And as the director of the movie, I of course had a significant role in the movie. But before we talk about what we did and the editing and the filmmaking, let's go to the very beginning. What inspired you to make a movie?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, I would say that was you. That was you. And so for those friends watching this video, a movie was not in my mind when I decided to get involved in this topic of immigration. Yes, I decided to write a book. But the concept of a movie didn't come about until the day that I met you, Nick. And we had never met before. We didn't know each other. And we were introduced by a mutual friend who said, with whom I inquired about a local videographer that I could hire to record one of my presentations. And he said, well, yeah, give this guy Nick Alexander a call. And of course, I call Nick, and he comes to the presentation, records it, and after the presentation is over, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing a documentary?" And of course, I didn't give that much thought. It definitely caused me to pause for a second and say, "A documentary, a video could be very powerful." But I was so entrenched in finishing this book, and I had other things that I just didn't give it much consideration. But then months later, I realized that how powerful a movie could be. And of course, I wasn't thinking about a feature film at the time. When I called you, you might remember, what I had in mind was producing a 5 or a 10-minute video clip where I could talk about the topic of immigration and the issues from my perspective. And that was it. And that morphed into a 78-minute feature film that is now being screened at film festivals all over the country. And it's getting a lot of attention on the media. And that's how Illegal came about. It's because of your passion for film and the opportunity that you saw in producing this film, something that I know you talk about, and you should share with the audience about why you did this and what inspired you.
It's really a crazy story because I had graduated from SOU, Southern Oregon University, in 2016, and I remember perfectly when people would ask me the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what's your dream goal? And everyone has different goals in life, and my goal, I think, was unique because what I told people is I wanted to go to Latin America and make a documentary. Not kidding. and I mean, honestly though, I had no idea how I would do that, with whom I would do it. I didn't have the team, I didn't have the assets, I didn't even have a story. But I studied Spanish in university, I studied cinema. So for many years, I love storytelling. I love telling good stories. And so that's what I was looking for 4 years ago. And I hadn't even met you.
But of course, when you and I met and we talked about your dream of producing a film in Latin America, and my idea by then of producing this film, our ideas, I think, of what this film needed to be, I think was different. I think you had in your mind more of a film that focused on the culture of the region, of the country, and kind of sharing that with the world, which it in itself, obviously, it's a beautiful thing and it has a lot of value. and we were able to actually do that through the film, but under the umbrella of a much uh, uh, bigger topic and issue, which is the issue of the topic of immigration.
Yeah, I think back to 2017 when we met at Rotary, and I remember I was super impressed. I'm filming your presentation, but I'm also trying to actively listen. And I was impressed, not just with your story of fleeing war-torn El Salvador, but also I remember very well at the end, you provided some solutions, some ideas to the problem of undocumented illegal immigration. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted a good story, something that most people haven't heard about. So at the beginning, though, I think you are right. Once about a year later, we reconnected and we got serious about making a video, and then the video became a feature film. And even then, it wasn't really until I read your book that I think I had a more complete vision of Laz Ayala and of illegal. The time, actually, we didn't even have a title yet. No. It was interesting, just finding the title for the film, and it was so apropos, just like when we came to that conclusion. And so that helped me, I think, as the director, to lead and know the content that we need to capture for the movie.
And it's just amazing how it all came together because, at the right time. Because when you approached me about doing the film a year before or so, I was still working on the book. I was still working on the content of the book. And of course, when I reached out to you, the book was essentially complete. And of course, you got to see, what the story, the overarching story, right? And of course, we went to work from there and developed our plan. And as I think about that, I have to take a deep breath because I'm like, I still don't understand how we were able to do all of this in such a short time, because it all came together within 9 months, right? From the day that we left for El Salvador and Tijuana and everywhere, and to the last edit was about 9 months, and that's a short time. I think to produce what we were able to produce, and obviously it wouldn't have happened without the passion that we share, but it also wouldn't have happened without the support and the help of the team, Ezra and Mark and Alina and Tanner and am I leaving anyone?
My wife.
Oh, yes, Evelyn. Yes, I'm sorry. And Evelyn, yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, you bring up a good point. We've been talking about, the beginnings of the movie. The production itself is a miracle. Most, at least for me as a filmmaker, I remember, we had discussions, where we're going, and there was a lot of logistics, and a lot of possibilities for failure. Yeah. There was so much that could have gone wrong, but thank God nothing really did. Like, we were on the road 10 days in 1, 2, 3 different countries, in places for me that were foreign, places for the team that I would say were just not necessarily comfortable or familiar, yet everyone had an active role. I think about Mark. He was, one of our teammates on the 10-day trip, and grabbing moving the tripods or getting us water. Alina, with the boom pole, or Evelyn, doing sound. Tanner, capturing shots over here when I was over there. I mean, everyone was working extremely hard, and I think when you watch the movie, I mean, you don't really realize until you see the credits. Mm-hmm. And shoot, there's like 6, 7 people that made this magnificent film happen.
Right. And you were the only one, you and Tanner, with any technical expertise. in the process of producing a film. None of us had that experience, and so I certainly put all the trust in you to knowing that, yeah, I could trust you, and I had every bit of faith and trust that you knew what you were doing on the technical side. And I think you also ended up having to trust me in that I knew where I was taking the team, and that the scenes that I wanted to capture and the stories that I wanted to tell, and how I wanted to represent basically what's in the book through film. And and I don't think that was easy for you, because it really required trust from both of us. And that's what made this thing, this experience, beautiful and successful, is that we trusted, and we trusted each other, and and um, and we were also very flexible, very fluid, and adapt. We were willing and able to adapt to situations, and that allow actually for, that in turn turned out to be great opportunities for the film.
Yeah, there were. I think there were many moments where I had a game plan, I had my script, my list of shots, and there were times where they didn't happen. Like there were interviews that we were supposed to do, but we didn't do them. But again, in retrospect, we did. We captured the shots, the interviews that you foresaw and deemed important, and those turned out to be those gold nuggets, those late night interviews, or just walking around San Ildefonso, and we come across neighbors, and I think about the gentleman at the end of the film, that had come to the United States, lived here temporarily, gone back home. And having that interview in the moment, it didn't really make sense. It was like, wait, who's this guy? Why are we filming him? And then in the editing, oh, this is why we filmed him. And then I also want to comment. I also want to comment.
Did you really not get it at the moment why I was doing that?
I mean, well, yes and no. Yes, because I understand Spanish, and I understood what he was saying. Like he's showing off the American flag, and he's talking about how he's thankful for his experiences in the U.S. and how that allowed him to return home and start a business. But at the same time, I'm in my element, and I'm like, Tanner, get over here, because Tanner doesn't speak Spanish. And that was also interesting, because about half the team spoke Spanish, and then half didn't, or not that much. Yeah. And so I think communication was interesting, because you would be speaking with a cousin or a nephew or an uncle, and I understood what was going on, but then camera operator number 2, Tanner, I mean, he was ready to go. He was attentive, but at the same time, I had to be like, dude, he's talking about the war, or he's talking about why he came back. So I think that was an interesting element. And then the other piece, you talked about flexibility. I really do recall having this itch at the Seventh-day Adventist Church to stay and do that interview. There was something about it where I know, like Ezra and others were like, hey, we better hit the road. And I understood that. Sure. Because logistically we did need to travel to San Diego. But there was something about it. And maybe it was just like an instinct, or I think it was just you and me. We saw something of value doing that interview with Robert Vaca, which of course it turned out to be the key interview for the entire film and the foundation. And so I think I learned to be flexible, and I also learned to trust you, because it was your story. But as the director, I'm trying to stick to the plan. But I think I learned that flexibility is really important, and let the story evolve.
Right. Well, I know that trust was huge, and I was thinking about when you mentioned the scene there where we recorded my cousin Julio. And you and everybody else perhaps asking themselves, why are we filming this guy, right? Well, I knew why, because I had, again, we've talked about, I mean, I had a vision of what the message that I wanted to project through this film, right? And I had written the book, but it couldn't be just my story of me saying and talking about the issues, or and there needed to be people that could talk about firsthand, you know, like in the case of my cousin Julio, who lived here for almost 20 years, who's, you know, expresses great gratitude for the opportunities that he had here to make some money, earn money, to, you know, buy a plot of land and build a house there, and and provide for his family, but also at the very end, who says, I love the country, I love the U.S., but I had to come back home. And of course, that's the, you know, that is the part of our message, and that is that most people don't want to come here to work, or I mean to stay. You know, they want to come here to work, and they want to be able to return to their communities, and that's what we're advocating for. Um, I don't want to get sidetracked, but you know, trust was huge. You trusted that, you know, that I would take you to the places that were relevant to record conversations that were relevant for, you know, for to the film. The church's you know, experience was another one of those moments of just being flexible but also trusting. At the end of the day, Nick, as I look back at what has happened in the last 4 years, this is so much bigger than you and me, and it's something that we may never understand. And frankly, I still don't completely understand how all this has come about in the last 4 years. And I don't want to sound, uh, like preachy or anything, but the reality is that this has been nothing less than a miracle. And it's really has been an incredible experience uh, for me, altogether. But the film itself, how that came about, because really the film has become that trampoline for this, for this message, for these points, and for these conversations, for this story of immigration to hit, really to make it available to every home in this country now. It has been nothing less than a miracle. Here we are, and now this film, it's all over the country, and we're winning awards, and people are starting to the message, of Illegal the Project is starting to resonate, and that's really ultimately what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that, I had a passion for storytelling through film. I also spoke the Spanish language, and I knew the culture, and I just can't help but think, like, that was not, like, there was, I mean, I'm biased, but, like, I was your candidate. I was your guy. Yep. I mean, you could have picked any other filmmaker, but, and there's veteran filmmakers here in Ashland, like, that have so much more experience than me. But I think what really united us was, it wasn't just that, oh yeah, I like to do videos or I like to tell stories. It was like I already had a passion for storytelling in the Latin American community, and with my wife being from Nicaragua, me speaking the language, and not just speaking the language and having a wife, but I think, and I do really care about Latinos, and I care about that community, because for me, I've been blessed to learn the language and travel and live abroad, that they're friends. And so coming across your story, it was the moment. It was the opportunity. And I haven't mentioned this, but before you contacted me in fall 2018, I think I was at a mini crisis point where, I'd been doing my business for a year and a half, and, my wife Evelyn was wondering, my family was wondering, my friends are like, so is it just gonna be like weddings and like little social media promos with businesses? Like, cause before Illegal, that's where I was, and I was doing cool things, but Illegal was my catalyst. For a movie maker, it has, looking back, it is my favorite project. It has been the project of greatest meaning to my life, and also significance to others. I think about everything I've done as a filmmaker, and there's no project that has such weight and not just meaning to me and you and our community, but to the country. Yep. And I think that it was not coincidental that our mutual friend Ezra connected us at that Rotary event, and that we connected. It was on purpose, and that to me is like one of those like life fulfilling moments where I know that I'm living on purpose. I'm here for a reason, and for you, I mean, you weren't a filmmaker before. No. You're a successful businessman here in Ashland, and I just think, how is what I think is most fascinating.
Well, I share the what you just said. I mean, I want to echo the your point, and that is that for me, making this film, and not just making the film, for me, the project, this project that I've been really devoting my life to for the last 4 years, has been the most meaningful thing that I've done in my working years, and I believe is the biggest contribution that I am making to the community and to the country. And so for me, it's that meaningful. And I also believe that everything that I've been through, everything that I've gone through, including my success in business, has been basically a journey that has been leading me to this point for this reason, for this cause. And it's interesting as we look back at our lives, like you were sharing about your experience with Latin culture in Central America and learning Spanish and measuring and cinematography and so here we are. We're doing something that we believe is of great meaning to humanity, to the country. And that's not a coincidence. I don't believe that. It hasn't been. It's a beautiful thing, really, to be where we're at. Now, it hasn't happened by coincidence, but also it has happened because we've also allowed it. We also are two individuals who live with intention. Intention is just, I believe, something that we live with every moment, and so things don't happen by coincidence. But where does that intention come from? Where does such deep sense of living with intention and purpose comes from? I don't know. And are we the only ones that have that? I don't think so. I think there are. I think everyone has that opportunity, to connect with their intention. I consider myself fortunate because I believe that I have been able to connect with that energy, that gift that's there for all of us.
Yeah, I know for me, it's crazy. In the span of 4 years, I've done so many different things. And, as a Christian, I think one of those, goals of life is to live on purpose, like whether that is, in your workplace or your family, like there's this, I think, value of purpose. And I think the worst is when you don't feel like you have a role or you're contributing. And for me, it's been really neat to look back on Illegal, and I think it's easy for me to just look at the accolades. We've won Best Feature Film. We've been selected to 25 plus film festivals in the U.S. and abroad, and all of that stuff is really cool. I mean, I feel good as a filmmaker, but I think as a citizen, as a human, I also feel that I'm doing what I was meant to do. Mm-hmm. And I could be doing other things. I could be telling other stories, but...
Tell me about it. There's a lot of things that I could be doing.
Right. But I think...
But I'm doing this because this is what I've chosen to do. Right. I'm not doing this because and neither are you. You could be doing other projects.
Yeah.
right? And we're continuing to do this, and because we've chosen,
Right.
to do that.
Yeah, it's our, our moral values, right? Like, I mean, for me, it's so much more than, now I understand, it's like it's so much more than just a beautiful true story. I mean, it is, but it's something bigger. And I think whenever a movie or a project is about improving the lives of others, especially the less fortunate, that is precious. And that is something that the world needs more of. We get enough of all the chaos and the lies and the confusion in the media and social media today. And I think Illegal is just a refreshing movie. I think of all the people that have seen it, and like 9 out of 10 times the reaction is, wow, I've never seen anything like that. They've seen, immigration docs or movies about, border crossings and Latino. Those exist, but I think what made Illegal so successful is it's unique, and it's about offering a solution to an ongoing problem. And Laz, you can speak on this, that neither side, no one wants a solution. They just want a problem to advocate, to get your vote. And I think, again, as a filmmaker, but also as a U.S. citizen, a citizen of the world, these are the type of movies that I want to be a part of, and you want to be a part of.
And you know what? There could be more of them coming in the future. So if we've done it once, we can do it again.
And that's right. That's right. So stay tuned for the future movies with Laz, Ayala, and from me. Of course, guys, we thank you for watching this episode about Illegal, the movie. Of course, check out our other episodes. It's really wonderful to talk a little more in depth about this big project, Illegal, the project. So make sure to follow us on social media, Illegal the Project. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you guys soon.